Is it okay for a married man to have female friends? We're going to make things clear in this video so that you, as a godly man, can know what's okay with God and what's okay with your wife and cut off relationships that should never have started. My name is Ricky Burrows. Thank you for watching this video. Like and subscribe. Hit the little bell notification so you can get more content. As a devout Christian, I have seen my father's faithfulness to my mother my entire life. The man loved this woman. The man loved my mom. I watched this man, this humble man, adore my mother their entire relationship. The two were inseparable. No matter where they would go, they were always in good communication with each other and always friendly with one another. And my mom loved my dad. A few years ago, a friend of mine, let's call her name Jane, and Jane came to my family's house for a visit. Now, we were accustomed to having people from the church come over to our house and introduce them and to say, hey, welcome to the church, this is our family. We were just friendly people to them. Now Jane came over and she was actually venting out some frustrations, and she was saying, her husband and her can't get along, and they're always fighting, and they just don't see them being with each other anymore. She took the conversation into saying, there's a guy on the worship team. For the sake of the video, let's just call his name John. Whenever I'm stressed out, John, who's also a professing believer, she began to talk about how great he was and how he listens to her emotions. She would rather go to him for emotional understanding rather than trying to figure out what's wrong with the marriage that she's already in and fix the source of the problem right there. And John was actually mutually exchanging emotions with her to the point where he wanted her to come to him at all times, where he wanted her to come to him for her emotional needs. There was this mutual exchange, like, I am emotionally in need, and then John would say, okay, why don't you just come over my place and we can have a conversation, or you can call me anytime. I can satisfy your emotional needs. I'll listen to you. I'll give you, I'll comfort you. There's this mutual exchange of emotions going on coming from another man. So a man outside of the marriage was intercepting her emotional needs. She then took the conversation and said, this is more spiritual than the relationship that I have with my husband, and I just don't see my relationship with my husband getting any better. So I said, okay, now I'm going to ask you a question. Do you think John would kiss you? Her answer was simply, yeah, I think that's the next thing he would do. From the moment you started your conversation, Jane, I could clearly see and hear that you're going down a path of adultery, where Jesus says in Matthew chapter 5, verse 27 through 29, you have heard it said from an old time that you shall not commit adultery. But I say unto you that whosoever looks upon a woman to lust after her has committed adultery with her already in his heart. Already in the heart. In the heart. When the heart is saying, I have found my emotional needs in another human being outside of marriage, that is wrong. That is adultery. If someone is intercepting a marriage and filling the other person's emotional tank, the warning lights on that is everywhere. Now, some of you who are doing this, you're saying, well, what's wrong with that? I'm going to tell you what's wrong with that. If your right eye offends you, tear it out and cast it from thee. For it is profitable for thee that one of thy members should perish, and not thy whole body be cast into hell. There are consequences both in this life and in the next. Now, if there were no consequences for sin, people would never obey. People would deny God. This is what I told her what to do. She was on her phone and she was texting, and I told her to put her phone down and listen to me. Because she respected me as a man, she respected me as a godly Christian, and I told her, look, you're going to call John, you're going to say these words, it's so clear, it's so simple, it's going to hurt, it's gonna suck, you're gonna hate saying these words, you're gonna feel these flood of emotions, but you are gonna betray either a loving relationship with your husband, which is the foundational principle of marriage, and you're gonna please God by cutting off that relationship with John. This is what you say. John, our friendship is going down a path of us committing adultery. On top of everything else, John was actually a married man as well. You're not allowed to call me anymore. We are done, and I can't be friends with you. So Jane looked at me, and she knew that this was the right thing to do. We prayed together, and she left. About an hour later, she texted me and said she killed that relationship. She called him, she said what I told her to say. He reacted, crying, confused, and I said, block his phone number, delete his number. She and her husband went to counseling to somebody who actually knows how to counsel marriages, who has been successful at helping marriages recover from bad relationships. And wouldn't you know it, that marriage is a healed one to this day. Jane and her husband grow so much closer together. They're much happier than when they were before. Now, the reason why I'm just going so hard on is because it's time that men just act like a man and start cutting off relationships that should never ever start in the first place. If God says adultery pisses him off, just take him at his word and don't do it. He is the author of marriage. Alright, so when is it okay for a husband to have female friends around him? From the beginning of this video, I talked about how my parents invited new people from church or friends from church. They invited them over to their house for lunch. We would go out to like Olive Garden and we would all get together and we would all enjoy the fellowship with one another. You would never ever see my father going to lunch privately and in secret with another woman, another lady. It's when you don't want anybody to find out that you two are together. Those are the grounds for adultery. You don't even have to kiss each other. You just have to look each other in the eyes and say, hey, I want to spend some alone time with you. When you're at a church event and you have groups of people all around, you're having conversations with people, you are clearly out there and you're just getting to know each other, you're just building rapport, and you're just being a friend, pointing them to God, trying to solve a problem, and you're not trying to intercept somebody else's emotions when that is the husband's role or that is the wife's role. And it really comes down to that. It's really that simple. There's a pastor named Andy Stanley. He's the son of Charles Stanley. He would counsel people in a manner that was really, truly honorable in my personal opinion. He would schedule a marriage counseling at, some restaurant. And if the woman showed up without the husband, if he got called into work, but she wanted to get this counseling done, then here's what he would do. He said, okay, you showed up without your husband and you want counseling. This is what I'm going to do. I'm going to call my wife and I'm going to let her know I'm actually with another woman counseling her and her husband just didn't show up. That's such an admirable, honorable thing, and I really believe that if men were to take that initiative, they would see a dramatic improvement with their relationship. So it really comes down to avoiding secret meetings, secret conversations, making sure that nobody finds out. If you're having a conversation now, basically being a friend, and you're not trying to be another man in someone else's life, another woman in someone else's life. You're not trying to have that connection. When I share these stories, I really hope that you get it. Thank you for watching this video. Hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, drop some comments, and let's have a discussion with this. There are links to books in the description below. Jesus Calling, The 5 Love Languages, and the Holy Bible. If you're not getting into God's Word daily, if you're not studying how to have great relationships with people, you're simply guessing at life. I've also got a Facebook Messenger bot called Men of Honor, where you will be receiving tips on how to be a true man of honor that leads his family, that pleases God and pleases man. So with that being said, thank you for watching this video. Hit the subscribe button, hit the like button, hit that bell notification. I will see you on the next one. Bye for now.